Let's take a look at how a person could implement Frogger. There's different ways of doing this. This is a picture I located on Google. I'm going to right click on it and say copy. Now bring up my paint.net. And I'm going to do an edit, paste in a new image. And increase the size of this. And we need to grab some images here. So I want to grab the Frogger. And I chose the selection tool, the upper left hand, rectangle select. And I'm going to draw it around Frogger there. And I'll say edit copy. And then I'll do an edit, paste into new image. And make that bigger. I'm hitting the zoom. And I want to put that weird pink in there, so I'm going to do it more. I would need it to be 255, 0, 255. And that one will be fun. Okay, so then I'm going to fill, do the paint bucket, and fill the black there. Let me do a Control Z to undo that. I'm going to do the eyes a different color, I guess, now that I'm looking at that. So maybe I'll make those, which color should eyes be? Blue? Okay, fill those in. Now, I'll go back to my weird pink. I'm clicking to swap colors right here. There we go. That's going to be our Frogger. And I'll do a save. And then I'm going to call this Frogger.png. And click save. And click OK. Okay, I'm done with that one. So I'm going to close that. And I'm going to grab one of these cars now. So I'm doing my rectangular select. And grab the car. There we go. Do an edit copy. And edit paste in a new image. Let me come back to here and grab a second car. I'm still on the rectangular select. I'm going to click the less button there. And select that. And actually I can't tell which direction that's going. I hope it's going the other direction. Okay, and then do an edit copy. And then I'll paste that into a new image. There we go. And one more. Gets the truck. So I grab that, edit copy, and edit paste in a new image. And need to zoom in and make those. Actually, I don't only make them transparent if I do black as my background. Frogger's the only one that had to be transparent, because if I make this background as black, then I'm okay there. So you might need a black image. So let me just grab some kind of shape there. Doesn't matter what size. And again, I just clicked and held my left mouse button down and grabbed it down there. And I do an edit copy, and then do an edit, paste in a new image. And then we got a black square. Okay, so I'm going to call this one car1. So I do a file, save as, car1.png. Click OK. And this one I'll call car2. So I do a file, save as, car2.png. Click OK. And I'll save this one, file, save as, car3.png. There we go. And this one I'll just call black. So file, save as, black.png. Okay. Well, now let's go over to Visual C Sharp. I'm going to do a file, new project, and choose Windows Game. and I call this Frogger. And click OK. Okay. Well, first thing we want to put Frogger in our game. So come down here to the content under the Solution Explorer, and I'll right-click on this and choose Add Existing Item. And go to Pictures, and Frogger. Where's Frogger? There it is. Frogger.png. And let me go ahead and bring the other ones in. So I'll add existing item, and I'm going to click the first one, hold down my control key, and click the other ones. There we go, and click add. Okay, brings all of those in. And by default, remember their asset name is the same as their name of the image. So Frogger, car 3, car 2, car 1, black. Okay. Let's come over here, and I'm going to have a texture, 2D, and I'll call him Frogger, and I need a rectangle to go with him. So I'll say rectangle, rect Frogger. There. Then down, let's see, load content. There it is. I'm gonna say Frogger equals to content dot load, then texture 2D, and then Frogger is the asset name. And my rectangle, I'll say rect Frogger dot width is going to be the same as the width of the image, and rect Frogger dot height is going to equal to the height of the image. And then rect Frogger dot x is equal to let's say graphics device viewport width divided by 2. Now that won't be exactly in the center because we'd have to take into account the size of our image, but it's close enough. And then the let's see, rect Frogger dot y is going to equal to graphics device viewport height divided by 2, or wait a minute, no, just height. Now that's not gonna, our frog won't actually appear on the screen if I chose that. I have to back it off the height of our image. So minus Frogger height. Because remember, when you're referring to the X and Y, we're referring to the upper left-hand corner of the graphic. Okay, so let's come down here, and we'll put our code in to draw it. So spritebatch.begin, spritebatch.draw Frogger, comma, rect Frogger, comma, color.white for no tinting. Then spritebatch.begin. Try it again. End. Well, let's run it and see if we got that part working. Yeah, I know I've asked. I'll grab a drink while I was thinking. I was thinking about jumping directly into Space Invaders, and I thought, no. Before we do that, we need to introduce a couple of concepts. So continue execution when that comes up, if you got that. Now see Frogger's down there at the very bottom. Okay, now I want to come up with a black background. What I'm trying to achieve is create this black background here. I see I could have a timer going here too, but I probably won't explore all the different things of Frogger. So we want this black background. So let's draw that now. And let's go over to our paint.net. And put my cursor back up here. What would this be? That'd be about 288. Come down to here. This would be about 288 and 447. 288 and 447. Okay. It's at 288. And this is 447. So if I'm trying to figure out this width here, or the height, sorry, I just need to subtract those. Where's my calculator? There it is. Okay. So let's see, clear 447 minus 288 gives me about 159. Okay, now our width, now if I come back over to here, go to my far right, I see that that's about 446. I'm looking in the lower right hand corner. When you move this, it updates your current position. So 448, something like that. Let's say 448. So we want our background to be at 159 by 448, or vice versa. So let's come over here to our game, and that's the black background. So I'm gonna come up here, and actually texture 2D here. I'll just put a comma, and black background, and call this rect black background. Okay, and come down to my load content, and I'm going to say black background is equal to content dot load black. Oops, it's texture 2D, and then black as asset name. Okay, I'll say rect black, and put an underscore in it. Oh well. Dot width is going to equal to, and I'm gonna hard code this. What did I say? 448. I'll type Y later, but actually, no, I don't think I will. I think I'll say just graphics device dot viewport dot width. So that's the width of my screen. Now the height of the black background, I want that to be 159. Then the rect black background, I can't even say it now, x equals 0, and rect black background dot y is equal to say 300. And we'll come down here and want to draw it. Now Frogger should be on top of it, so I want to draw the black background first. So I do draw black, and oops, comma, and then rect black background and color dot white. There we go. Let's draw it, or run it. Name black does not exist in the current content. Isn't that what I called it? I guess not. I guess I called it black background. That was the asset name. There we go. No, that's not bad. I was just guessing the position, but that's actually halfway decent where I want to put it. Okay. Now that's not quite the way the game is. They have a little purplish before that. So I could grab off that image and put a purplish in there. Let me do that. Just show it. Okay, so grab a pattern here. And the tools down there. And I guess I'll start here. And you want to look for where it starts repeating. And well, that looks like where it starts repeating. Or as close as I'm going to get. When I say that, look at this rectangle here, and then look at the one right next to it. See how these two here are on the edge? Those two would be on the edge, more or less. So I say copy, and then I'll paste that in the new image. There we go. And I'll do a file save as. And I'll call this purple. And save. And click OK. I'll come over here to my image, or my game, and load it in. So come over here to content, right click on that, say add existing item, and I want to bring in purple. We're going to see better and better ways of programming games as time goes on, but some of the stuff that I'm putting in here is just like I cringe when I do it. It's good for learning it to begin with, but it isn't the best way to program. Okay, so then I'm just going to call it purple. I don't want to type all that. And let me change that direct to underscore. And I'll just call that black. There we go. And I'm going to call this rec purple. Okay, so I'll come down here. I'm really surprised I didn't actually change all that for me. It's kind of a flaw. Sometimes you get crazy with your variable names. It's like you make them so long, they're just horrible to work with, which is what I was doing. Okay, so change all those to direct black. Okay, now we need to do our purple. So purple equals to content dot load texture 2D and then purple. And I'm going to copy this and fill it in. And the width is okay. This 159 is not okay. I just want it to be the height of the actual purple. So purple dot height. There we go. 0 is okay. 300 I know is not okay. Let me think this through. Said my height was 159 and this is 300. So what I can do is if I take 159 plus 300, that gives me 459. But no, this is 459. Should display it right below. Except for I don't want them to say black. I want them to say purple. So purple. Purple and purple. There we go. Now let's go down here and load it in. Now I'm doing this in pieces, but you could have bring the background in all at once instead of like doing it half piecemeal like I'm doing. And then color.white. My big problem is I'm not doing this from scratch. I'm taking this from this image, and so I'd have to cut all this out here, which wouldn't be horrible, but I was too lazy to do that. So let's run this and see now. And that doesn't look good because it's stretched. I guess what I should have done, looking at that now, it's been better if I just grabbed this entire orange piece. So let me correct my original flaw. So edit, deselect. Okay, and then I choose my selection tool. And I'm going to choose this. Well, I'll choose this one down here, and I'll choose it all the way across. That's still going to be stretched, but it won't be as bad. And I'll edit, paste into a new image. I'll close that other purple, and this one I'll call purple. So I do File, Save As, purple.png, save. There we go. And I want to delete the purple that's over here, so I'm going to right-click on this and choose Delete. And right-click on Content, choose Add Existing Item. And purple. Where's purple? There's purple. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that's better. Now, actually, Frogger's a little bit below that. He doesn't start off with in the purple. See, Frogger's actually down here. I guess he's over on the left-hand side, isn't he? He's not in the middle, but oh well. Well, let's cause Frogger to move. So let's program that. So I'm going to come up to the update section. There it is. And after my to-do, I'm going to say keyboard state KB equals keyboard dot get state. And I'm going to say if KB dot is key down keys dot up. Then I'll say my rect Frogger dot y equals rect Frogger dot y plus the it says operator plus cannot be applied to this. Maybe it just isn't letting me finish it yet. Okay, and then this will be my rect Frogger dot height. Okay, let's. And of course, plus isn't right. It should be a minus. So let me put that as a minus. And then I'm going to say if kb dot is key down keys dot down. Then I'm going to paste this in here. Save myself some work there. And this will be a plus. So let's try that. Okay, keyboard up. Yeah, that's a problem. Try to remember how to do that now. If keyboard up and keys. I'm not quite sure how to. I have to look that bit of code up. The problem with it is I think I'm pushing the up arrow key one time. The computer's recording it many times. So I guess I don't want. I'm not gonna. I'll just put a 3 here to begin with, and I'll put a 3 here. I'll have to look the bit of code up for that for the future. But there we go. It has to do with you got to check for the keys up and keys is key down and is key up. But I'm trying to remember how to do that. You don't check for it at the same time. Yeah, I have to look the code up for that. Okay, so now if kb dot is key down keys dot left. Then rectfrogger dot x is equal to rectfrogger dot x minus 3. And I want to have a if kb dot is key down keys dot right and recfrogger.x is equal to recfrogger.x plus 3. Now 3 may be too fast. Because remember, Frogger's not that fast, and we're going to have the cars moving across the screen. So you may want to be 1 instead of 3, but we can change that later. Now the car is what we're going to work on now. Now our goal is we want to have many cars going across the screen, maybe even a little bit more than this. So the idea is we don't create 50 textures to handle all the different vehicles, or 40 or 30 or however many you have. So we want to use something called an array. Now in Excel, an array is a list of something. Like I can put numbers in here, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so forth. So I can put numbers in there. And this is a list. Now this is our first entry, see the 1. This is our second entry, see the 2. Third is our fourth, and this is our fifth entry. In programming, the numbering starts at 0. So we'll keep that in mind. So we're going to bring in car 1, car 2, and car 3. But we're going to have an array of items to handle this. Now, again, there's different ways of keeping track of this. And first thing I'll do is the texture 2D, and I'll put a beginning bracket and a closing bracket, and then I'll call this cars. Now this isn't the best way with a texture 2D like this. This is inefficient actually, but I want to keep it simple to begin with, and then later on we'll see better ways for this. And then I want to have a need rectangle. So I need my rectangle. Oops. And I'll put the brackets on there, and I'll call this rect cars. That's going to keep track of my position of the cars. Now I'll need a direction for the cars too. So I'm going to say direction, or wait a minute, integer. Actually, let me say string. And I'll say car direction. And then I need what do I need? I got their position with the rectangle. I got their the image. I got which direction they should be going. That's probably enough to begin with. Might be everything actually. So let's come down here. In our content load, let me first load in the cars and show that. So I called them cars. So I'll say cars is equal to new, and then I'll say texture 2D, and then I'm going to say how many cars I'm going to have. Let's say I'll have 10 cars to begin with. Usually you don't hard code it like that. You do it other ways, but that'll work. And that'll create our list. And so I'm going to say the first 3 cars. Trying to think of the image. 3 cars per item? Yeah, maybe that'd be okay. Okay, so I'll say I'm going to have a for loop here. For int counter equals 0, and I'll continue while counter is less than 3, less than or equal to 2, 0, 1, 2, and then counter plus plus. Now this is a for loop, and I'm going to do a beginning curly bracket, and I'll immediately put a closing curly bracket, and then I'll go in between them, and this is where I'm going to put my code. So I'll say this is where we're going to load it in. So I'll say cars, and then counter is equal to content dot load, And this is a texture 2D. And this will refer to car 1. Now what this is going to do, a for loop, is the first time through it's going to initialize this, counter as an integer. It's going to set it equal to 0. So it comes through, first time it's equal to 0. Comes down here, so I got car 0, which refers to my first one, and then I load in this image. Then it hits this closing curly bracket, comes back up here to the for loop. And then it's counter plus plus here. Actually, instead of plus plus, let me say counter is equal to counter plus 1. This will increase it by 1. So next time through, counter is equal to 1. And come down here and load in the image for that. And then, second time it'll be, it'll increase it by 1, so it'll be 2. And it'll go through this again, and so forth. Now, let me start off with just that, just to show this. So there's 3. Okay, I've loaded that in. Now I need to set my rectangle. And I can do that actually in here. Now when I say rect, try it again, rect cars dot, the counter you see here, that's going to refer to which item in the list. So we have car 1, car 2, car 3, or car 0 I should say, car 1, car 2. And this will be dot width is equal to cars counter dot width. So same width of the cars will be the rectangle. And rect cars counter dot height is equal to cars dot counter dot height. Okay, now the position. This will be a little bit tricky. So I'll say rect cars dot counter dot y is equal to let me see, I put the black image down there at 300. So maybe this should be at that's 359, so 459, 400, let's say. I don't know. We'll pretend that's right. And rect cars dot counter x is going to equal to let's say 100 times counter. It might not be enough, but we'll go with it to begin with. Okay, so this should load 3 cars in. And it's like you're looking at this like, well, that's more code than maybe we had before. Well, yeah, but realize I could change this instead of 3, I could change it to 30. I'm going to come down here, and I need to print my cars. So I'm going to say for int counter equals 0, continue while counter is less than or equal to 2, and counter equals to counter plus 1. And then I'll say sprite batch dot draw cars counter comma rect cars dot counter color dot white. Now, I didn't put curly brackets around that because there's only one of them, so I can actually, let me put the curly brackets there. Okay, there we go. Now let's see if I make coding errors. That's not good. Okay, directions never used. That's okay. Is never assigned to. Rect cars is never assigned to. Oh, I didn't. I know. So I'll do debug. Stop debugging. Up here, where I initialize the cars array, I need to initialize the rectangle cars. So that's equal to new texture or new rectangle 3. There we go. Now let's run that. It actually doesn't look too bad. Now let me I've hard coded in a number of cars there. I could come down here and if I can find out where it's at. There it is. Instead of hard coding it there, I could I could put it up above, but let me put 6 in there. And I'll come down here and I'll put this as 5. Because when I say there's 6 of them, that means it goes from 0 to 5. So I probably didn't do that right up here. Let me go look. 6, 6, and that should be 5. Okay. Now run it. And see, I have 6 cars. See the beauty of that? Think how long it would have took me to load in all those textures, to create a rectangle for each one, and so forth. Now, when I did this 100 times the counter, well, counter is 0 the first time, so 0 times 100, 0. Then it's 1. 1 times 100 is 100, and then 2. So what this is doing is setting the spacing between them. And I want to make the spacing a little bit more, so I'll say 200 instead. And actually, all I want here is I do want just 3, like that. And so let me come down here. And I know it's weird. It'll throw your mind at first. That number starting at 0. 0 to 2 is 3 items. Let me run that. There we go. Except for I think Frogger, they were actually a little closer together. 100 was probably correct. So let me come up here and change that back to 100. Maybe 150, but we'll go with that. Okay, that's my first car. Now it's not quite down where I want it to be, so let me put this at 450. See what that looks like. Okay, there's line 420. Proper design in your original graphic, yeah, that's good enough. Will help reduce that error. Okay, let's draw our other cars on there. So I'm working with car 2 now. Now here we said we have 6, and this is loading 0 to 2. So this next one, we're going to be loading in. Let's see, 3 to 3, 4, 5, 3 to 5. So I'm gonna come up here, and I'm going to edit copy this and paste it in down here. Instead of going from 0 to 2, it's going to go from 3 to 5. And instead of car 1, I'm going to have car 2. I don't want it at 420, I'll take it back 30 maybe, so 390. And maybe I'll start this off at 300 plus 100 times counter. Okay, so there's 3 cars here, 3 cars here, so 6. So if I come down here, if I change this to 5 and run it, I went over a little bit too far. Let's see. Okay, so let's see, set that at 200. There we go. Run that. Okay. Now we got to do our trucks. So the trucks, again, a truck is just a special type of car. So I'm going to copy this. And paste it here. And it's going to be loading 6, 7, 8. So I want 3 trucks, which means I need 9 total in here because I'm going to have 9 vehicles. And instead of car 2, should say car 3. For my Y, I'm going to have it come back, what did I have that other one come back? 30. So I'll cut this come to 60. And I want this to be on left side like that. Okay, so I'm going to come down here. This should be 0 to 8. Because remember, that looks like there's 8 of them, but you add 1 because it starts at 0. As weird as that seems. And I got something wrong. Let's see. Let me go up there and look. Do a debug. Stop debugging. And what do I have wrong? Oh, I didn't change these. So this should go 6 to 8. And then I'll run that. Trucks isn't where I want them to be, though. I want to be over in the far left, I think. 100 times counter. Oh, but it starts at 6. I see a problem with my logic. I'll do beginning parentheses here, and I'll do minus 6. This one's probably needs some correction, but I guess since... But it looks like the trucks need to go in the left hand, or the left direction. Which is okay. I'll start them off where they're at. Okay, now we need to move them. So we got our images in there. That's the next thing we're going to take a look at is that direction. That's a car direction we haven't fooled with yet. Well, the first ones, these are going to be going to the right. So let me say car direction counter is equal to R for right. And copy that, and this one's been going to the left. And as weird as it seems, this one's going to left too. Okay. Now I'm going to come down here into our update. And besides our Frogger moving, we're also going to move our vehicles. So I'm going to do a for int counter equals 0, and then counter is less than or equal to 8, then counter plus plus, because we have 9 vehicles, so it's 1 less. Beginning curly brackets, closing curly brackets, and then put some code in between. I'm going to say if, and this is car direction of counter is equal to, is dot is equals, this is a string, isn't it? I think it's a string. Let me go up and look. What did I declare that as? Yeah, string. And I set them equal there. Card direction. Or car direction. Okay, yeah. Car direction counter dot equals. There it is. Not is equals. So equals R. Then that means they're going to the right. So I'm going to say they're rect cars counter is equal to rect car, or wait a minute, dot x is equal to rect cars counter dot x plus 1. I'm going to say else if car direction counter dot equals L, then rect cars counter dot x is equal to rect cars counter dot x minus 1. Okay, now this else if, this if statement here checks if this is true. And the dot equals is just checking to see if this string here is equal to R. If it is, then it does this. Else, it does this check. Though I don't need this if, really, because there's just 2 choices. They're either moving right or left. So, else... Actually, I don't even need that check at all then. So, else... That's true. Now, let me run that. And, car direction counter is equal to R. No reference was on. Oh, I didn't declare the table, the array. Let me do a project, stop debug, stop debugging. Up here, car direction is equal to new string 9. And let me run that. There you go. Now I want them to, when they disappear off the screen, to appear on the other side. So I need to put that check in there now. Okay. So, let me see. It'll be down in my update section. So this code right here is moving my cars. Moving my cars. This is going to checking to see if they are off the screen. Okay, so I'll say for int counter equals 0, counter is less than or equal to 8, counter plus plus. And I'm going to say if rect cars dot counter dot x is greater than the graphics device dot viewport dot width. So the width is greater than width of the screen. Then I'm going to say rect cars counter dot x is equal to 0. Now that would cause my car to immediately appear on the left hand side, and I don't want that. I want it to be back off the screen, so I'll do minus rect cars dot or counter dot width. The other check I want to do is see if the rect cars dot counter actually, just to make it simple, I'm going to set it equal to 0. I'm starting to feel like I'm making this a little bit too complex for like a third assignment I'm given. So if rect cars counter dot x plus rect cars plus or minus plus let me think this through. Well, let me just make it real simple to begin with. I'll say if that is less than 0, that means it's gone off the left side of the screen. Then I'll say rect cars counter dot x is equal to graphics device dot viewport dot width minus rect cars dot counter dot width minus width of the car. And let's see if that works. Yeah, it doesn't not real pretty. The right side's okay when it goes off. But again, I'm trying to keep this simple to begin with. And I may be failing in that regard. Now, you have to think of it. This is the width of your screen minus the width of the car. If I just set it equal to the width of the screen, then it would be checking. What would it be doing? If it's less than 0, so it's gone off the left side, then you just have to do a bunch of AND statements in here because you want to check to see if it's greater than this and it's moving to the right. I could probably do that. Could be so lazy, but I guess we'll go with that. It's good enough. Like I say, this is something you could tweak later on. I don't want to get in like a 3-hour movie, 4-hour movie creating this. Okay, so we got it moving off the screen. Now it's going kind of slow, so I could actually, up here where I'm moving my cars, I could refer to a variable called speed of car. Speed of cars. And speed of cars, like that. Then up here at the very top, instead of hard coding that, I can put as a variable. I can say int speed of cars is equal to 1. Then when I change it in one place, like that, then it automatically be like that. And actually, that's actually more the speed probably a Frogger goes. Grabbing a drink. Okay, so we got Frogger moving there. Frogger should move faster than the cars, otherwise the game's probably no good. So let me make the cars go in 3, and Frogger speed. Let me create Frogger speed equals 2. So then down here, when I'm moving my Frogger, instead of hard coding 3 in, I'm going to put Frogger speed. It's never a good idea to hard code values like that. Like I say, some of the stuff I do initially just to get you used to it makes it simple to see, but not the appropriate way to program a game. Objects is actually how you'd want to do this, but that's a pretty tough concept. Okay, so here's Frogger, and Frogger can't run that, so like that. Okay, now we need to check for collisions. If there's any kind of collision, then Frogger loses a life, for example, and we put him back at where he started. Okay, so here I'm going to check to see if cars have hit Frogger. So I'm going to loop through all my cars. For int counter equals 0, counter is less than or equal to 8, and counter plus plus. Beginning curly bracket, closing curly bracket, and I'm going to say if the rect of the cars counter dot intersects, then beginning parentheses, and then rect Frogger. That means they just hit Frogger. So I'm going to put Frogger back where he began, which I have no clue where he began, but let me do a beginning curly brackets, closing curly brackets. And let me go see where I put Frogger initially. Where did I put Frogger? Okay, I put Frogger X and Y here. So let me steal those bits of code. There we go. I'll come back down here and paste those in. There we go. Okay, so let's run this. Frogger might be going too fast now, because you can easily avoid these. Now there he hit him. See how I put him back at the beginning? Okay, I want Frogger to go a little bit slower, I think. 1 might be more appropriate. Either that or make the Frogger 2 and the speed of the car is 4, but that might be too fast then. Let me do that as 1. Yeah, that's not bad. It's still pretty simple though. My width of this game is more than, my width of this game is more than the actual Frogger screen I stole it off of, so there's problems there. I could increase the number of cars. That might make it a little bit more entertaining. I could make them 4, make them a little further apart. You know, it's kind of up to you. Let's say down here, see how I have the number of cars hard-coded as 9? You know, instead of hard-coding that as 9, I could come up here and say number of cars is equal to 10. And then down here, instead of hard-coding 9 everywhere, I can now put number of cars. Which makes it much better, programming-wise. Number of cars. And maybe I want this to be 4 of these. So 0 to 3, which means this one has to be changed to 4 to 6. And this one would be 4 to 6. And then this one would be 7 to 9. So 7 to 9. And come down here. I'm looking for every place I got that hard-coded. And I got it hard-coded in a lot of different places. See, I got 8 here. I want that to be number of cars. Because the worst part about hard coding that is if I forget one of them when I'm redoing it like that, then it's going to mess up the entire game. So this be a number of cars. There we go. Now let's, if I didn't miss any of them, I missed something. Index out of range. That usually means you missed it. So let me do a debug, stop debugging. 8. 0 number of cars. I got a number of cars too many. I want this to be 9. Or no, 10's fine. Down here, in all my for loops, where I'm referring to number of cars, I need to do number of cars minus 1. Because even though we got 10 cars, I just want to go from 0 to 9. I was going to change it up there, and I was going to do it the easiest way to change it. But that's kind of sloppy coding. Because when you think of number of cars, that should be like how many cars you have. Period. Okay, now let's run this. Now notice I have 4 cars there. And again, it's a little bit too easy. Letting one of the trucks hit me. Okay, there we go. Let me make the cars go a little bit faster. So come up here, my car speed of the cars, put in 4. Yeah, that's better. Still easy to get through though. Maybe. There it's like, maybe I don't want them all going the same speed. Well, if I don't want them going all the same speed, then I'd have to come up with a new table. And I'll call this int car speed. And I'll come down here, and where I declare my tables. So I'm going to say car speed equals new integer and number of cars. Then for this one, I'm going to say car speed counter equals to 3. This one, car speed counter equals to 4. And this one I'll say car speed counter is equal to 5. Now down here where I'm adding the speed of the cars, I'm going to be adding the car speed of counter. So each type of car is going to have its own speed, which I think is probably the way more like Frogger is supposed to work. Being able to predict the pattern on it is, there we go, a little bit better. And oops, okay. Go over to here. Well, there I got through. It's a little bit more challenging though. And I could play with the distance with the car, that the cars are between them, and let me make that first one. Kind of fun to tweak this. Okay, 4 there. And then I go on a little bit faster. Okay. Oops. Okay. Ah. Maybe I need to come far left here. Wait till those cars go by. There we go. And go up, up, up. Ah. Okay. Does great. Probably made it too challenging. I can't get across it now. But you can see you can tweak it. Now we want to end the game after like 3 lives. So I'm going to have another variable up here. I'll call it int lives. Now set equal to 3 initially. Now we want to print your lives across the top, like in red or something like that. So I'm going to need to come over here to my content. I'll right click on it and I'll say add new item. And when it comes up, I want to choose Sprite font. And then I'll click add. Now it'll bring the Sprite font up here and puts a font name here, Segio, so I don't know how you say that, UI Mono. You can put any font name here. Now the fonts you can choose between, I don't know if we got a list here. No. If I bring up Excel, all the fonts you see listed here, you can use these. Like I can use Cambria if I want, Calibri, Andy. It's weird. Arial somewhere. There's Arial. Let me choose Arial instead. So instead of this saying that, I can come up here and replace that with Arial. Now notice I'm not touching the font name with less than greater than around it, or the slash font name with less than and greater than around it. This is XML if you've never seen this before. Then I can make the size of it, say 20, like that. Now the tabs across here, that's our Sprite font. So I'm going to go back to game 1. And we need to declare that font. So I'm going to come up here and say Sprite font. And I'll call it SF. Now if I were to click the Sprite font over here under our content, it has its own asset name. It's called Sprite font 1. I'm going to call it something a little bit more user friendly. I'll call it SF. Give it the same name as what I called it here. Now I come down to my load content, and I want to load in the Sprite font. So I'm going to say Sprite or SF. SF equals content dot load Sprite font, and then SF. There we go. Now I'm come down here, and where I'm drawing all this, I'm going to put a Sprite batch dot draw. You see there's a draw string, so I'm going to choose draw string, and then I'll put an SF for my name of my Sprite font, comma, and I'm going to do a beginning quotes, lives, colon, end quotes, and then plus, and then I called my variable lives. So lives dot toString. And I don't remember if this needs to be a parentheses here. I think it does, but sometimes it doesn't. Comma, it says vector2 position. I'm going to type new vector2, and then I'll put a beginning parentheses. This is the location on the screen. The new vector2 has to be exactly as you see it. And this, my x value is going to be, I don't know, 0, comma, 0. I'll put it in the upper left-hand corner. Comma, and then color dot red. Okay, now let's run this. Now you're going to see lives appear up there, but it doesn't change. So now we want, when we get hit by a car, we want to reduce the number of lives. So I'm going to come up here to my collisions, and this is where Frogger gets hit. So I'm going to say lives is equal to lives minus 1. And if their lives is over, so if lives is equal to 0, equal 0, that's how you do a check on integers. Then I'll say this dot end. Maybe not this. This dot exit. This dot exit. Now this is how you check an equals with an integer. So now if I run that, haha, I got across. Let me show it the ending though. There, and then your game's over. And like I say, there's different ways you can do that. But that shows kind of the beginning part of that. Now what I'm going to assign here is I want you to modify this to put three more rows of cars, and then your object should be to try to adjust the speed of it such that and to position your car such that it's possible for Frogger to get across. If it's not possible to get across, your game is worthless. But again, we're learning about arrays here. And I'll probably actually start copying this code and putting it out there where you can review it. I can't put the entire project out there because it's so big. But I'll copy all this code and paste it in into something. I might actually be able to print it and save it.